After walking away from everything he loved a decade ago, Winter King no longer recognizes the man he's become. The man who tried burying the pain of his past underneath a $1 billion smile, women, and work. When an unexpected turn of fate brings him face to face with his ex fiancée, Valentine, he can't hide any longer from the woman of his past, the emptiness of his present, and the tenuous hope of his future. Valentine never imagined she'd be forced to face Winter King again, and then her best friend falls in love with his brother? He says it's kismet, but she feels it's pure, unadulterated torture to her still broken heart. The last thing she intends to offer him is forgiveness. Making a promise to move on, Eve tries, but when everything she works hard for is jeopardized, the man who used to be her king is her only option. A favor, a outrageous bid, and a date can't lead to a second chance, can it? Let's talk about EVE. Do I want to say it now? I'm gonna say it now. Eve got on my damn nerves. Actually Eve and Winter, because Winter gets no slack from me either. Let's jump into it, y'all. First of all, Miss AE Valdez, you did that. I love the story. Loved it. Let's go. So this is part 2 of a 3-part series of the Three Kings Billionaire series. So let's see. Jumping back to part 1, which was Noel and Snow story, where they were in the same cabin, that whole mix up thing, whatever, and they end up getting engaged. But before they even got engaged and they were just a couple, she brought her friends and he brought his brothers around so everybody could meet up. And we didn't even find out at that time. She was just being like real catty at the table. Eve, like she felt the way towards Winter. And I remember like at that time at the table, like Snow had to check her because it's like, why do you always do that? Like you talking down on her or something like that. And I almost thought that the friendship was over then. But the way we just jumped back into this book like that never happened, I was like, okay, we just gonna bypass that. But come to find out, Winter and Eve were actually engaged, like they were actually in a relationship. Like I did not know that. So she was real upset about having to be around this man again because their relationship just ended unexpectedly. He left her like with no word, no reason why, and the relationship kind of just fell apart. And he was trying to be cordial and speak to her, but she was just like icing him out. She don't want to talk to him. She don't want to have nothing to do with him. And while that's understandable, because it's just like I didn't want my relationship to end. I was engaged to be married. This is a man that basically like they kind of grew up together. Not grew up together, but they were together for a while. Like they were calling each other's parents mom and dad. Like it was real. And it just was torn apart. So it's just like, and I got nothing. I got no explanation. I got nothing. And so now that you're engaged to his brother, I just have to come around and be cordial. And this is where I am extending Eve grace, and also where quote unquote adults have me fucked up, because y'all present being an adult as somebody who just takes pain and swallow it and basically just you have to deal with it and basically get over it. And it's just like I don't have to if I don't want to. I just don't. And I don't think you should be labeled as bitter or as like that person nobody wants to be around. That's not fair. Like I should be able to feel the way I feel. Now she don't have to be like mean to him and like purposely ice him out and make it uncomfortable for everyone there. But also, if I don't want to be around this person, I need y'all to respect that as well. So these quote unquote family get-togethers or friend get-togethers or whatever, if I know that person's going to be there and I'm not showing up, I shouldn't be made to be the bad person for that. And because at one point, like before things progress in a happier place, That's what Noelle. What was the Noelle's sister? What was her name? Damn, I forgot. I forgot Noel's sister name, and I forgot the younger brother's name. Oh damn, that's all bad. Anyway, because it's messing me up. But like Noelle and her sister, they kind of tell her that, like, it's time for you to get over it. Why are you being so mean to him? Like, that's in the past now. You've moved on, so basically leave it alone. And Eve works in a clinic. She's not a doctor. I forgot what she does, but her work is very important to the clinic. And so they need money to like fix things around there. I think get like new equipment. And she went to Noelle with hopes of asking Snow about it. And Snow said, yeah, like, yeah, sure, no problem. But Winter is like the head of finance, so you would have to go talk to him to get approval from him. And it's just like, once again, we're going back to the thing of y'all know that that's a sore spot for her. So forcing her to interact with that man was kind of some bullshit on everybody's part. But everybody just find it so funny and smirking about it like, oh, you have to talk to him. What are you going to do? I would have stopped being friends with all y'all and stopped talking to everybody, because if where I'm at in my life right now, if I'm not ready for that, as my quote unquote friends, y'all forcing me to interact and be in forced proximity with somebody, I'd have cut everybody off. And I don't care how nobody felt about it, because I'm not okay with this. But because she wants to save her clinic, she does. Eve has a meeting with Noah, Lord, with Winter. Okay, so let's pull over before I even get to the meeting with Winter. Eve has a new boyfriend by the name of Noah. That's where it came from. And so, but she's not really feeling him like that. He's really just a friends with benefits type of situation that she's forcing a relationship with, because one, she doesn't want to address the things with Winter, and he's something safe to do, and she's just really using him, which is so unfortunate, because Noah, he was a nice guy. But anyway, so let's get to the meeting. But prior to the meeting, they let Winter know that Eve is coming to talk to him to ask for the money for the clinic. And he's happy about this as well. He's like, this is my chance to force her to talk to me. And I'm just like, so everybody is forcing Eve into this situation. And I was just like, okay, so everybody ain't shit. But he uses it to his advantage and tells her yes anyway. But, she has to be cordial. Like, they have to be friends. Like, it's time to let this go. And it's like, why are y'all forcing her to do that? But I forgot, in the family dynamic, like, technically Winter is the oldest son, but because when their father died, he spiraled out of control. Like, he got on drugs. He went down a deep dark hill. Snow actually became like in charge of everything with the CEO, the owner. And so that's how Winter became the head of finances. So it's like, technically he should be the CEO, but he had to work through the trauma of losing their father. Now, all three sons, they're still really close. They have breakfast together. They go on a hike every weekend, but they don't know that he's in therapy. And that's something that he's keeping to himself. He doesn't want anybody to know. I think he went to therapy, he went to rehab. So he's slowly working on bringing himself back around. But that was the end of their relationship, is when his father died. He basically shut her out, and that's when he started spiraling with the drugs and just going out of control. And his thing was, it felt like she was trying to push him to, so basically they did it to each other, push him to hurry up and get over his father dying. And it's like she wanted to get back to planning the wedding and basically just getting on with their lives. And he was stuck in that spot of, my father died. I can't move on with this. What am I supposed to do without him? Like, I just lost my father. I am out of control. And so that's why I didn't get back to what I just said, like how they doing that to her. It's just like, so now that you've gotten yourself together and you quote unquote ready for your woman back, now you feel like you can push her into being over the death of your relationship. But he kind of did, like he smooth talked her in that meeting, and it's like she almost forgot all about Noah. But then she has to let him know, like, I got a man, so all of what you thinking about doing, all that flirting, got to cut that out. He like, oh, is that right? So he goes to his therapist, and he's talking about Eve and still talking about his father and how he just feels kind of lost still. That's what I took from it. It's just like he's coasting and he's looking like for more fulfillment in his life. So that goes to what that leads into him being a, like, quote unquote big brother to, what was it called? I forgot the center. But anyway, he was going to be like a mentor to somebody. And so he goes to this center where he meets this young man, and the young man had lost his father. Yeah, because his dad was raising him by himself, but now he lives with his grandmother. And so, and he's also like from the poorer side of town. So they bond over losing their fathers and how they're trying to make it through and does it get better and all that type of stuff. And so Winter learns that the young man is staying with his grandmother and she's not very nice to him. She doesn't treat him well. So, he starts to pour love into him. And at first the young man, like, he's hesitant. He's like, I don't want to take that from you, because, like, no, I don't want that from you. But Winter has to tell him, like, there's no strings attached. I just want you to know that you have somebody in your corner to look after you. So in the midst of trying to get his girl back, he's also like trying to be a big brother, and he tells his brothers about it when they go hiking, and they're like, bring him along. And, now we have a younger brother, and I forgot his name, which I hate, but it was good for Winter. It was good for both of them. So now they had somebody else to hold on to. And the young man, there was a girl at the center as well. She had lost her mother, and they went to school together. So they were just friends for the longest. But Winter got him like a shape up with his hair, got him some newer clothes, because you could tell the clothes that he currently had weren't fitting him properly. So it's just like, but she liked him before that, though. Let me say that. The young girl, because she was, well, he had guy friends, but like at the center, they were real close. She was always taking care of him, talking to him. So it was just like she liked him before that, but when he kind of got himself together, that's when he found let me put it like that. That's when he found the confidence to pay attention to her liking him, because Winter kind of brought that to his attention. Like, I think she likes you like more than like a friend. And when other people started to notice him at school, then he started to pay attention to like, oh, you think she want to be my girlfriend? And the girl's dad, like he that man was funny. He noticed too, so he's like, ain't no closed doors. Like, whenever y'all hang out, be out in the open. But at one point, because let me get the young man out the way before I get to their relationship. Like, he was telling Winter how his grandmother was mean to him. She took the dad, because his dad was a firefighter, I believe, how she was taking his checks and not giving it to him, because that's how his hair wasn't done. His clothes were too small, and he was basically just getting by. because she was taking the money and going to gamble, and she was abusing him. So one night when Eve and Winter had a date planned, he's like, I'm working late at the office, but as soon as I'm done, I'm on my way to you, baby. Take a bath, just get it set up, and I'm on my way. He gets a call from the young man like, I need you. Like, I need you right now. And so at first Winter's like, this can't wait. But he hears the tears in his voice. I was going to say he hears the tears in his eyes. So he's like, I'm on my way. But he didn't call Eve to let her know that there was a change in plans. So she's at his house spiraling out of control. But Winter goes to take care of the young man. And when he gets there, he sees the bruises on his face. And he's like, what happened? And he's like, I confronted her about taking the money, spending all my dad's money, and that, he was going to go and get that change to where the money comes to him. And she attacked him. And so Winter is like, you can come stay with me. So, they're billionaires. So he calls Snow basically saying like, I want to get temporary custody. Like, I need a lawyer and a cop to the house right now so I can get his stuff because he's not going back in there. And, I ain't trying to put my hands on this old woman. So a cop gets there. He goes in the house and at first she didn't even want to come to the door. And it's like, lady, we know you in there. So they knock on the door again. And she opens the door, almost pleading her case immediately. Like, I didn't do anything. But Winter's like, I'm just here to get his stuff. And she's like, his room is back there. Take everything, and I don't want nothing to do with him and his ungrateful son. It's like, ungrateful. You are starving him, abusing him, and taking the money that's meant for him and spending it at the fucking casino, lady. But Winter grabs his stuff and like, you ain't even got to worry about it because after this, you ain't going to see him no more. And because what she had told them, like, his room, only take what's in his room, don't touch nothing else. But Winter saw pictures of the young man's dad, like pictures of him by himself and them together, and took those as well. Like, and he ain't never got to come back and he ain't got to worry about it. So now the young man is living with him. But, so we're going to stop right there. Then I'm going to jump back into how they were working, Winter and Eve were working together for the clinic. And that turned into, they were doing an auction as well. Like the proceedings were going into the clinic. And the two doctors were being auctioned off for dates. And then in the end, they threw her in there as well. And Winter made a bid of $1 million. Now, remember, she has a boyfriend, but they've been flirting all that time. So, and the boyfriend is starting to peep, and he asked her, like, what the hell is that? Like, what is going on? Do y'all got something going on? And she's like, no, that's over with. That's done. I'm with you. It wasn't over with. They were not done. And she ends up breaking up with Noah. Hold on. I don't know how I forgot this child. So let's talk about how Noah took, I'm all over the place, but this book was fucking crazy. Noah took her to his parents' house, and the mama like almost immediately jumped down her throat talking about, are you ready for kids? You ready for marriage? Because, a lady your age, you ain't got much longer to have kids. It's like, oh, lady, first of all, who you talking to? How you and she ain't like it. Eve like, nah, this seemed too much, like y'all too close. And when she broke up with Noah, she told him, it's like, in your next relationship, keep your mom out your business, because there's no reason for her to be texting. Oh, my bad. So she had broke up with him, right? This was the next conversation, because he came back almost like he couldn't accept the breakup. But then they had a talk. Because after the initial breakup, the mama texted her, talking about, how dare you do this to my son? And it's like, is you his mama or is you his woman? Like, get off my back. So anyway, so she broke up with him. That was over and done with. So now they're working through their relationship where it's good, but then it's also bad because we're traveling back in time to where the dad just died and their relationship falling apart. So they're both still insecure about that because he doesn't know if he can be the man she needs now. And she's scared that he might leave again and not say anything to her and just leave her. So let's jump back into him getting the young man and bringing him back to his house. So when they get into the house, she is there pacing, like face full of tears, and has almost driven herself insane, thinking that he just left again and didn't say anything to her. So that's when they realized, because it had been cool, like on the surface, back together, having a lot of sex, going out on dates, and getting to know each other again while not attacking the reason why their relationship broke up in the first place. So he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. This happened and I left my phone in the car. Like, I just wasn't thinking." And she's like, "No, I should have known that you would never leave me like that. I just got too in my head." And so it's just like, okay. It was just crazy because it was like the way she was wearing a hole in that carpet. But so now they're like surrogate parents to the young man, where he looks at Winter like a big brother because he loves his dad very much. So when they get into a routine together, the three of them, because she ain't even going back to her house, she basically stays there with them. The young man starts to call Eve mom because he never had a mom, and it's kind of like the role that she plays. And it was so funny because it's like she was just going on like she ain't hear it till she just stopped midway. Oh, I forgot the young man, like he's an artist. Listen, when I tell y'all there's so much going on. He's an artist, like he paints very well. So he got what was it, like an internship or something like that? He's going to Paris, and Winter is sending him there like on their private jet, like he getting taken there in style. So they're packing his suitcase, and when she's going down the list, like, "Do you got this? Do you got this? Do you got this?" And the young man is like, "Mom, I got everything," but she just steady going. Then it's just like, "Stop!" And he's like, "You called me mom?" And he's like, "Is that cool? I'm sorry. I can go back to calling you." And she's like, "No, if that's what you want. Like, I'm perfectly fine with that. Like, don't." It's just like stuttering. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, that's great. It just took her by surprise. But he continues to call Winter, and he thought that he was upset about that. And Winter is like, "Why would I be upset about it?" And it kind of felt like he had stopped talking after that, like kind of shut down on him a little bit. Like this is what the young man feels like. And he's like, "It's because I already got a dad." And Winter's like, "I know. And I would never try to take his place. So if you only look at me like as a big brother instead of a father figure, that's perfectly okay. And you never have to call me dad. I would never be upset about that. I love you just the way you are and just the way our relationship is. So, no, don't feel any type of way about that. It's perfectly fine." So all in all, they get back together, they mend their relationship, they get engaged again. And at the end, what the people think is an engagement party, is actually their wedding, because they didn't want to wait anymore. It's like, no more waiting. I love you. You love me. We were going to do this whole lavish thing before. No more waiting. It's just us. We're going to celebrate with the people we love. Boom, bow. That's it. And I loved it. But they got on my nerves. Because I'm just like, at what point are y'all going to stop playing with me and get it together? Because I condensed it, but it was a lot of back and forth. This happened, back to the past, present, back to the past, present, back to the past. And I'm just like, if we go back to the past one more motherfucking time. But all in all, it was definitely worth it. It's a great book. Please go read it for yourselves. And I can't wait for the third book because I forgot. It's the fact that I forgot both of their names. But, Noelle's sister and the youngest brother, it seems like they might be a thing, but also not really, because Noel's sister was setting the younger brother up on dates to basically like get him out of his shell, because he's like the nerdier one, who's always working or has his head like in a book somewhere or on the phone doing something. So she's trying to get him to go out and he doesn't really want to, while they're also flirting with each other at the same time. But she says that she doesn't look at him like that, or, she only wants a no strings attached type of thing. So we're going to see how that goes. Anyway, peace and blessings, my beautiful people. And I will see you back in the next episode.